Welcome to Prime Childcare Software Training. In this session, we're going to go over filing admission forms. Once an admission form has been filled out and submitted online, you will see those submissions in the submission section on your overview screen. You can also view them in the admission module under the Submissions tab and go to the Submitted section. Once you've received that submission, you'll want to review it to make sure that all the information is correct and you are okay with putting this information into your system. Once you have determined that that is correct, you'll do a file form. If for whatever reason it is a bogus submission or the information is incorrect, or for whatever reason you don't want this information to come into your system, select the submission and click on Discard Submission and it will delete it from the system. For this, we are okay, we reviewed it, and this is the information, it's correct, and we do want to bring it into our system. So we can click on File Form. That brings up the File Submission window. There's some information at the top based on the form that has been submitted. You can see you can either file this form under No Student, so it saves it in the system but doesn't put it underneath a student record. You can save it underneath a new student, so that will create a new student. In this case, since we have sponsors as well on our submission, then it will create the student, the two sponsors, and it will link the records together. You can also choose to file this form underneath an existing student. If you choose existing student, you choose from the student list at the bottom, you can select which student you want to file this form under. If there is a potential duplicate student in the system will let you know, and it will automatically select that student. If this is the student, great, click on File Form. If it's not, select a different student that you want to file the form underneath. For new students, you can also add this student to the wait list instead of bringing them into the system and as active and start putting them on rosters and setting them up. In this situation, we're going to just add a new student. We don't want them on the wait list. We want them in our system now. They are enrolled and we need to get their information in the system. So I'll click on File Form. The system asks me if I want to set the new student up now. If I click on No, then what will happen is this form is filed underneath the student, and the sponsors are set up and linked to the student, and that's it. Now if I want to set up the new student, I click on Yes, and that brings up the student setup window, and what that allows me to do is select which days this student will be attending our facility. I can choose which sponsor is going to be billed for the student. I could choose a rate type for this student, so in this case I want this student to be billed daily, and because it's daily I can choose honor attendance or not. I can override the class rate and put in a manual rate, or if I don't select the override rate checkbox, then this student will pick up the tuition rate for the class selected. I can see that this child is 3, and at the bottom I can see my listing of classes, the start and end age for my classes, and so what I can do is I can choose which class this student is going to be in, looking at these numbers. So since this student is 3, he would be in our DEAR class. Our DEAR class has 2 available openings, 2 slots open, and so I know I'm not going to overbook that class. Now if this student was at the right age for the antelopes, then I can see here if I add this student to the antelopes, then I'm going to be going past my ratios and I don't have any openings here. I can still do that. The system will let you do that, but it does give you a warning, kind of letting you know, hey, you don't have any openings in this class, don't put him in it. Don't put this child in it. So in this case I'm going to choose the DEARS because that's what age range this child is in, and then I click on Setup. That completes the setup of the child, and then I can go back in, and because I know the student is Brian and parents are Carl and June, I can go look at the student, verify that the information is there, and verify that the sponsors are there. Underneath the student record, I can look and see that he's been added to the class, parents' information has been added, and I can go see that form that I just submitted, or I should just see that form as well. Oh, sorry, wrong record. Problem with having more than one student, same name. So in this case, I can see the form that was just submitted, that I just filed. It's right here, and I can see that information. I can print it out, and I can view it. That is everything for filing an admission form in